Good evening, everyone, and welcome. We are Random Encounter Productions. I'm Cody Stone, and with me tonight we have.
None of them know what order they're in. It's
I
Andrew.
don't know, Andrew.
Yeah.
Well,
Hi, I'm Andrew. I'm the newest one in the group.
yes.
I'm playing Grizz, the Dwarven Ranger. Excited to be here.
Hi, I'm Megan. I'm Sarai Landier.
I'm Caitlin, and I didn't move anyone around tonight, so they're all in the proper order. And I'm usually play Fable Frost, the Ace Genasi Phoenix Hill Sorcerer.
Hi everyone, I'm Sirach, and I am playing Sirach because my name is Eric, but I'm playing Sirach, and I am Sirach, the Eric Hakra Horizon Walker Ranger.
That was a journey.
Well, to follow that up, I'm Mars. I play Talroth.
And I'm Kez, and I play Treasure, the Tiefling Barbarian.
all right, so we are here for. We're doing a little talkback. We didn't
Yeah.
have disasters this week. We didn't have disasters last week. We do have some very cool disasters news, which we are very excited about. If you guys don't know, we have finally gotten with some tremendous help from Tristan.
Don't say
everybody
help
def-
from, it was just Tristan. I helped him a little bit, but it was Tristan.
Well, the many thanks to Tristan. We have the podcasts of both Disasters in Danger and Blood in the Bayou: Vampire the Masquerade up. What platforms can they
All of
go
them.
to find? All of them.
There are
All
both
right.
commands have just been dropped in chat. Yeah, I made those commands today, Tristan. Now that they're
Ooh.
finally live. We used to have a podcast command back the first 10 episodes where I was keeping up with the podcast. But now we have someone else to do that for me. Thank God. Tip your Tristans, everybody. Drop a coin to your Tristan. He's the only reason we were able to do this, and actually, any tips and donations you guys give help us pay him to keep the equipment that helped him do this. So honestly, the funds are directly at work in the fact that this existed. Remind me to do that, Tristan. I have to send him the new information for the new Adobe suite so he can use all the things. But they are going to be available, rolling out on multiple platforms. If you click on that Fireside link that I dropped in chat for either one, it'll take you to the main landing page of the podcast, and from there you can see every connection it is currently on. For instance, Blood in the Bayou is currently available on I don't know why that's not actually showing. It is available on Spotify and Amazon Music and Apple Podcasts. And Disasters in Danger is available on Castbox, Apple Podcast, Overcast, Pocket Casts, and Spotify. They were all suggested to us back when we first started doing the podcast as places people went to find podcasts. Obviously, it's working because we hit 800 downloads today. 800 plus downloads today of our Disasters episodes. We don't even have that many episodes, so it's more than one person just downloading them. Like, it's very impressive, and we like you all a lot. So don't forget to give either of those a review. We're at 900 now! We hit 900 downloads! We only had like 600 when we started re-updating. So, hey, 300 in like 2.5 days. Thank you all. Please make sure you go review it on whatever platform you're downloading it on for both of those podcasts, because that makes a world of difference towards us possibly getting sponsors and getting being able to have more people find the company, find the shows, and then find all these wonderful creators who are doing their own thing and trying to help us build this. Speaking of which, everyone here does something else in some way, shape, or form. Who wants to talk to us about their creative shit? Starting with Andrew.
I can talk about Easy to Spell,
Yeah, let's.
my own D&D channel. I
Please.
guess that's my creative outlet. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Easy to Spell on Twitch. We stream on Sundays. We recently started streaming live again. You can catch most of our stuff on YouTube. Easy to Spell. It is spelt with 2 L's because when we came up with the name, we forgot how to spell. We just went with the pun,
beautiful.
Easy to Spell. It's really a nice emotional roller coaster there that we all went through.
The irony is beautiful.
Yeah, it's great. We did a recap episode recently covering the first 17 or so episodes. So if you don't want to sit through all of our back stuff, we're going through. Once we hit a combined 100 followers, subscribers, anything like that, Cass is really excited about this. I get a script for how we open up. Yeah, like how we open the show, because usually it's just me rambling for 5 or 10 minutes about Thank you, Rammer, for the immediate follow. That's fantastic. I usually just ramble for a couple minutes and but yeah, we have a lot of fun. A couple of us, David and Will, you saw in the PvP league this last season. Yeah, and it's kind of through that I got to end up here. Absolutely love it. So come check us out. Say hi.
Nice. Meg, you want to hype up trivia for the? We've got local viewers who are here.
Sure. Yeah, every Wednesday at Aruga's Sports Bar and Grill on University Drive, I co-host Twisted Trivia with our friend of our channel, Mistress Mimosa Marissa. It's a pretty good time. For October coming up on the 13th, it's 90s nights, and you get extra points if you come in costume. I'm expecting to see a lot of flannel.
Yes.
And Nirvana shirts.
Yes.
And then on the 23rd, I think it's the Wednesday before Halloween, is our Halloween game. But we have regular games every week. There's prizes and gift cards for the place. It's the food is really good. I think you guys could attest to
we now eat there every Wednesday. That is our date night now, is trivia, and we eat the food all the time. Of course, we also win every time we go, so
not every time, but you do pretty well.
Top 3, I consider that winning.
Yeah, you just gotta wait till I can finally show up to one.
All the food's made in house. They have like over 40 draft beers. It's really, really cool. All the staff is very friendly.
The food is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Even if you don't get the chance to, we'll definitely come for trivia. It's free to play, and it's a really fun time.
Yeah,
trivia is good. The soundtrack is
spectacular.
Excellent.
Just banging.
It's unparalleled, if I may.
Sorry, somebody visiting Orlando in the near future. What was the name of the place again?
Yeah.
Aruga's.
Like
Aruga.
And it's the one by Full Sail University. It is also right across the street from Campus Cards and Games, which does carry some of our merch. So it's like a really fun nerd place to just go hang out for a few hours with all of your rep crew anyway. I'm a fan. Yeah. But seriously, the music is banging. Meg does the mixes, and there's a reason we picked her to run the music for our wedding. It's because she curates the goddamn playlists like a champ.
Yes, I do. And like throwbacks from Disney made-for-TV movies? You're gonna hear some
Yeah,
jams.
we do.
Yes,
we do.
The fact,
play Supernova Girl.
Yes, and I
literally
cried.
About to go zoom, zoom, zoom.
That definitely showed up.
My Supernova Girl. It was so good. It was so good. Anyway,
Anyway,
Eric does stuff with Geekapella.
Liar, you can't prove it in a court of law.
I'm sure I have footage of you talking about Geekapella,
which I've recently been in. Definitely do stuff. Not wholly a part of, but probably going to be a part of soon again. Geekapella, Orlando's premier nerdy acapella group. We are trying to get the band back together after a very difficult COVID season, which did not allow for practicing or any real of our like performances or anything. So we are in-house trying to get that all set up back together so we can start performing again. And also, if you want to have some laughs, want to have some fun, and want to see my amazing fiance do what she does best, go ahead and follow Notorious Potato. She is recently started Twitch streaming. She is amazing. She is silly, and she plays a whole eclectic bunch of game right now. She's playing Everhood right now. The what's that game? Undertale-like game, but with music and rhythm. So yeah, go ahead, follow that.
Yes, I have pulled it. I've put it in like chat.
I see that.
Yeah, I spelled it right and everything because it's got a 0 for the thing.
Yeah, a 0 for the O. Notorious Potato.
Potato.
But for the first O is a 0. All the other O's are just O's.
Thank you, Potato.
I'm a potato.
I'm a potato. And Kez and Mars.
Well, Kez is the better talker than I am, as evidenced by how we play, so I'll let her talk about this one.
So guys, you have probably heard by now, because I've talked about it a few times, we're part of a live action stunt team called Lance, which does shows for Renaissance fairs and so forth. Due to COVID, we have decided for the safety of our members to down the shows. but that doesn't mean we are down. We have decided to go digital and film a bunch of our stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to get to see some of those fights regardless in a much safer space where everybody's in their home and can feel a little safer watching the. I feel kind of weird saying safer watching the people be unsafe at each other, but that's kind of.
That's the truth, though. Like, that's what you got, you know?
You know, Disney dropped Black Widow.
Yeah,
Over...
yeah.
We're watching people be unsafe with each other. It's good.
That's
I prefer
accurate.
blood sports from the safety of my own home.
Speaking of blood sports from the safety of your own home,
Hey.
the PvP League is launching.
Woo!
I apologize. That was just a really good segue.
It was.
To jump in.
It was so good.
Kez, if you have anything else to add, please do.
Yeah, just one more thing with you guys may have seen some of the art that pops up in the art reel. Some of that is done by Carlos, who is not here, but I will definitely hype for him because he is a fantastic artist as well. Some of that is done by myself. And with holidays around the corner, I do usually have some sort of holiday sale coming up, so keep an eye out for that. I'll probably have something special coming up for those of you guys who watch Random Encounter Productions. I'll be talking with Caitlin about dropping some sort of discount code for that.
Got you.
Awesome. Well, I think that went super well.
I just needed you to have time to eat also. Like, I was like, listen,
I
we're good.
appreciate it. Everybody's great. No,
Yeah.
I'm really pleased with how creative and wonderful just our entire team is, and I'm very grateful that they decided to come and spend their days and nights with us here. So, if you guys don't know, we are doing PvP Season 2. The league is going through a big overhaul. I'm going to be finishing up some rules compendiums, so it should be available Sunday. And we currently have half the teams. Maybe a little more. We still have spots available.
Yes.
Is the point that I am trying to get to.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking I might approach some of last season's favorites. Not a lot of last season could stay together as a team going into season 2, but maybe we can get together a couple, like some all-stars.
The all-stars? You want the season 1? Oh, Andrew just got excited. We were thinking, like, if it was, like, you and, like, if there was one member of, like, like, I know Tom got his team together, but if there was one member of Battletoads that wanted to play, or there was one member of, like, because a lot of the teams did have to scatter, but some of them are still interested and available.
Can I mention the fact that just half of, like, the people that I would pull in to be a team had kids? Or are having kids, and that's the reason that I don't have a team is because of babies.
Listen, that's the reason why we had that with Keith. We all saw it. We love you, Keith, but even Keith knew. He was like, "Not now!" Like, no, it's game time.
Yeah, David, who played Kaya last season, he's having his third kid. He just found out.
Wow.
Yeah. He doesn't even look like he just had a kid. Wait, that's the thing you say to women.
He carried it really well.
Yeah. That's fair.
The seahorse daddy.
Oh, thank you for that. Megan was everything about her face just then was gold. Fucking gold. But we would like to see some of those. So you know what? You're in chat. If you were watching PvP and you had some favorites besides Andrew, because we already know he was a favorite, tell us who your favorites were. Let's see if we can get them back in as a group for season 2, because we know who we think our fan favorites were, but you guys were the actual fans, so we could be wrong. In any case,
absolutely.
If I wasn't a fan favorite, you're welcome to lie. Say that I was. It really makes me feel good.
Listen, we're fans too, and we decide, so it's fine. We're keeping you, Max. This is a joke. But in any case, speaking of fans and fandoms, with the launch of the completed podcast, we thought now would be a very good time to touch base and talk about the show from not only from a D&D perspective of, like, how's it going, but, like, what the fuck are our characters thinking that we never get a chance to say? What questions do you have for our characters that we've never got a chance to answer? Let's do some recap. Let's do some interrogation, like I said, but keep it friendly. Interviewing is the friendly version of interrogation. Let's do some interviewing. Megan is ready! Megan, you didn't put on your interrogation makeup, so we can't. If we're gonna interrogate, you have to have a... Oh, no, I lied!
Well, this also just became a makeup tutorial, so you
There
guys
you
are getting the
go.
variety show tonight.
So listen, we're all. It's time to put on makeup. It's time to light the lights. Megan does both of those things. We are the Muppet Show, and
It
we're
is
all in our own
time to
boxes.
put on makeup.
Oh God, don't do it that way.
It is
I hate
time
it.
to light the light.
Cody, do you want to?
I-
Do you want
I
to?
just heard
Oh,
that.
I hate it. Cody Stone.
Yes. So yeah, I can kick us off in the reviewing days. I think, and actually where I'd like to start is a little earlier. Um, because our last episode, if you guys didn't know, had a couple of callbacks and some references back to some season one events. And season one was a much different beast. It was a West Marches style game. The cast was far bigger, and it was a lot of. We just pulled in friends and random people that we could get to play tonight, and we made it through, and it was a good story. We very much enjoyed it. That one centered around the continent of Rotom, which is sort of I don't have a name for this planet. I should.
You don't need a name for the planet. To be fair, if there weren't other planets, would we call this Earth? No,
Sure,
this is just
yeah,
where
I
we
mean,
are. Like,
Yeah, this Earth. Yeah,
I just go back to Titan AE, and just go Bob.
Planet
Yeah.
Bob.
Planet Bob.
planet this
Um,
one.
Yep. So, sort of a fantasy Europe, definitely the Mediterranean, kind of some very interesting straits. And started as a home game, blossomed out from there, and you guys spent a lot of time in and around those straits, did a little dimension hopping and some fun things there. But it's very much centered around the lunacy being the big bad with a cabal of doppelgangers that were replacing key people in the government, and the lunacy being a demi deity or a primal entity of imbalance, and you guys sort of centering or putting things back right, reestablishing a lunarchy, which is a loon-based religion of the five moons. Anybody that didn't know there's five moons over your head, there are. And if you go to Don John, I have a whole like link thing that lets me track it, which is kind of weird. But yeah, so there's a bunch of moons. Um, and those are kind of the big highlights of that. It was we got super cosmic. We had some world saving, some world ending. Definitely worked with a lot of cosmology, and it was a very wonderful time. But it was definitely a very chaotic game. Very kind of all over the map, and I believe most of those made it onto YouTube. Good luck if they're in order. Good luck. Maybe someday we will set Tristan the Herculean task of
No,
figuring out.
he already volunteered. He heard some
I
of
know.
your lore last time and goes, "Well, I'm gonna go do it there too." And I was like, "Okay, my dude, it's a lot."
It is. It is a lot. It is, and it's a little scattered. It's a little harder to follow, but the roleplay quality is still very good, and the character development is wonderful. You'll see there's definitely like a first half, second half, kind of to that campaign, and you'll start to find some familiar faces, not just in the first half, but I believe that second half is when we get like Mars, Kez, Eric in there, and you guys were with us through the end, and very much was sort of we're gonna throw everything out the wall and kind of see what sticks. So when we started out this one, I was like, all right, we're going to do a little more of a frontier story, some archaeology. We're going to come to Fantasy America. That's how I'm my rough map approximation. That's where I put like, all right, we got two mountain ranges, two coasts, and a river in the middle. That's, you know, um, because I love the legacy of what the characters have done in the past. I find that in RPGs, and this is also true with games that are played in established universes, right? That they have to be far enough away either in time or in physical space from previous epics, right? It's not a ton of fun to play Star Wars in the middle of the rebellion or like
well, because everything's already happening, or
right,
you have
or
to,
it's like
or you do something that either completely negates what the heroes have done, or you're the reason the heroes survive, and then it's too much inserting yourself into the existing
yeah,
plot a little.
oh, yeah, or at some point what you're like, we failed. That's all right. Luke's gonna shoot that Death Star.
So we're fine.
He's got it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So to keep the drama and to keep those things up, we have definitely moved, 80, 70, 80 years in the future, whole new continent, whole bunch of new stuff. You guys have not been in the college setting that I initially thought you would spend a fair amount of time in. We took the Westward Ho Oregon Trail path quicker than I think I thought. But for those of you that were here in the days of Dorian's Dawn, what do you guys remember? What do you think about those early first few arcs? You guys did. You went on a little trip south. You went to a haunted house, and you guys did a deal with some really shady people and uncovered a mystery. If I'm not mistaken, did I miss anything?
We
So
also killed bugs.
you did kill some bugs. Yes,
Yeah.
bug hunting is definitely lucrative.
Is a
And-
tradition in in any campaign we run.
Yes, absolutely. Um, so let's talk about some names that have popped up occasionally. I know the singular talent of a generation, Lara Shen. I think just because I gave him a super long name, and it was like the first NPC like long ass name, you guys have latched onto him, like really like I'm so like I feel bad. I feel like there should be more to him, but I don't know what to do with that.
Why would you have to do anything with it, Cody? It's not like anybody gave us a reason to have to deal with him again. Oh, wait.
He's probably never coming back.
It's not like we invoked his name by setting his house on fire and putting it in a time
Okay,
loop.
so-
Like-
So you had a condo in town. Who fucking cares, man?
oh, man.
He
Yeah.
still owes me some gold because he took all of my money in that first tower.
Listen.
And I think he did the
You
same
know
to
what you
Sirach.
do? You know what you do? Change classes.
Just hard, immediately. Yes.
When they owe you money, change
You just
classes.
change a class, and then it's, well, it's not the same me anymore.
Wait, you're saying when you change classes, people don't owe you money anymore?
No, that's the only reason he's around!
No comment.
But Andrew knows, Grizz does not. Well, we do. So we have questions in chat already. We can just talk around and we'll
Alright.
come back to those later. It's up to y'all.
Who, yeah, I was kind of just picking a point because you guys seem to like La Roshan. What loose ends do we have with them? Or we can go to questions. We can go to questions.
I'm good with. What loose ends do you feel like we have with them? Because what is always interesting to me is
This is partly quiz time for me to see what have you guys remembered or what do you as players think is important?
I didn't
'Cause
come
that's
here for
all-
homework.
No, it's not. I mean, it's not homework, but it is when you ask your players what they remember, when you ask them what stands out, it's a good thing as a GM to know, okay, that's what's engaged my players as part of the story.
Yeah.
And doing fun callbacks to things that maybe they have thought they've moved past or stuff is nice, but it's also really helpful to be like, okay, everybody's really engaged with this and this person and this thing. So if we want to get back to that. If we got to do something else, we'll kind of move through those lesser interesting parts a little faster. So that's kind of what I was hoping. I was interested in finding out.
Yeah, if I can, I don't have anything from your earlier games. I wasn't really part of it, but Vamp, so they can think of questions and stuff. I do this constantly. Those little check-ins, like, "Hey, did you
Yeah.
have fun? Like, what did you think?" Because the things that people bring up as a DM, that's what I'm like. All right, let's build stories around what they were interested in.
Yeah.
Well,
Because and then I can let little offshoots die. Things that I
well, I know there's 3 things from La Rochenne's tower that were still on my mind.
All right, what you got?
Well, the first one, we already kind of backfired in my face with the cards.
Oh yeah,
because that's where I found the cards.
Mm-hmm.
The other one being that Dragon Chest set that Sarai was playing with, where
it has become wildly important to the entire universe. Like, it is the game. I feel like.
Has it become a
I feel like it had and does and is.
then? No, I don't think so because we're not doing anything with it. Like that hasn't come up. Andrew, did you know that there was a chess game?
I mean, I feel like the general theme has come in. I built a character that is
Yeah,
generally
Who didn't fucking know there
uncaring.
was a chess game, man? Like I don't think it's that big of a deal.
So the chess game is sort of a prototype of the Fate decks.
Yeah,
right.
that's yeah.
But it is more it does have a connection to somebody here in the West, most likely a dragon. They seem to like you or like playing against you. But if
Yeah,
it
really
is, you have proven to be very good at dragon chess. But if it is, I wouldn't call it like it, not to the same extent that the cards are fate or universe bending, but it is, a good tie-in to some of this later adventure stuff.
Yeah. And the third thing that I remember was that golem we found in there.
Oh,
The one that we
yeah.
should carry
Right,
over?
Brondefrey.
Yeah. Brondefrey, yes, names!
Can I say the worst part is there's a
Kinda
character
crazy.
in Destiny 2 named Anna Bray, and so every time we bring up the golem, and so every time we bring him up, I'm just like, oh yeah, Anna Bray, and then someone goes Brondefrey, and I was like, so close.
Someone want to tell Andrew who that is because he does not know.
Yeah, she's the lady that's studying the Hive on Mars. Yeah.
Then she does know. Okay, good. Then he does know.
There you go.
Then
But
I'm
sorry,
good.
I know who Anna Bray is.
No, but Brondefrey
Yeah.
is a So yeah, we found, yes, come interrogate us. Let's go. We found this. She was his like servant, right, or like his research assistant, essentially.
Yeah.
It is what we kind of got from that, and
Yeah, and he used her as an experiment.
yeah, not ideal. But we kind of had to ask her. She's like made of stone now. Oh, we're not sure if she always was.
She wasn't.
She wasn't,
It's very
she was-
much like it's shale.
Yes, thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we got her out. We found her a place to work and be at her permission.
She
we didn't
works in the necromancy, or she
with Raven, right?
lives in the necromancy with because Raven's
Not
with
Raven.
us.
With not Raven. With
With the
Tiny Morticia.
professor.
Yes.
Yeah, Tiny Morticia, Professor Tiny Morticia. excuse
Professor
me.
Tiny Morticia.
Yeah,
Terrifying
but
halfling.
But Brondefrey goes crazy. Like there's periods.
the full moon,
Yes, like full
yeah.
moon.
Is it full moon?
Yeah.
Yeah. She
It's
like
something like that.
kills people.
She's a werewolf. She needs to be locked up once a month. We never figured out why.
She's not a werewolf. She
No,
just like
but
loses her mind and
which-
starts ripping people and things apart.
Actually, that's a
Um,
really good thought. Is
what-
I found myself wondering if that was because he was like close to coming, because like he's not there and hadn't been there for a long time, and we know some of these towers are locked into like time and dimension travel or whatever. Maybe something happens or it's supposed to happen around that time. Maybe that was when things invaded and he taught her to be an attack monster.
Sure.
But-
Cody,
like, I
what
don't
was
know.
the thing that she would say? There was something she said. It was particular. I thought you said there was something she was like repeating when she would like
Lose it?
come out of the frenzied state or something, and I can't remember what it was.
I don't either.
Huh.
Okay.
So
So it wasn't plot heavy point then. No, there was something you were like, I think there was, if I
it,
remember.
there was probably a hook that I had there that
Yeah.
if you guys for you to get to the same information,
Had snubbed,
most likely.
yeah.
I leave a lot of breadcrumbs that that lead sometimes to the same place, sometimes not. So a lot of times, if I forget where it was going, it's because we got there a different way.
Nice.
Okay.
Is usually what happens. Um, so yeah, that was. I mean, those are kind of the from the first adventure. You guys came back. You went to a haunted house. You got the blades of Halcyon Rain, and a Kirin, friend that you guys
Kieran, my Kieran baby.
yes, fell super in love with. So that was adorable. And then you started the prep for the journey, right? And you had Professor Volton and his cabal of adventurers that you guys had stumbled into some fights with. He did escape. Had some cult what is it bendings he did about the adamantine scale. But you guys were going on this trip, and so what Professor Volton is getting up to back east in your absence, who knows?
That is that was actually something that I was gonna like. The next thing that I was gonna say is we still have no idea what his end game was, and he's still out there, and Star Song's back, and Star Song.
They're all back.
They're
They
all
resurrected them all.
Yeah, they're all there, and I'll bet you they're pissed.
Yeah. We're gonna go back and we're gonna be Troy walking into the room with the pizzas. Like when we go back to town, it's just, oh my god, everything's on fire.
We're riding back on dragons. What are you talking about? Fuck that.
That's fair.
With pizza.
Clearly, you don't know anything about trolls.
Trolls. Clearly, you don't know anything about cursed trolls. So that leads us, I think, well and cleanly into our first question.
Awesome.
Now, this was for any of you watching. I have been dropping the podcast link in chat. This is something that you will figure out going back and watching and listening to all of it. But it was what was with the beholder? Why a beholder? Why did you rob it? That was a specific quest we were sent on that you may have missed in the editing process because he didn't have to deep dive. But Velxer, did I say it right?
Velxer.
Yes! Ha! Velxer the Great was a beholder who had a key. And this was one of our first big, potentially world-changing arcs, I believe.
He
also
had the
had-
sword.
He had the
That was
sword that we
had.
need. That's why we went there. But
Yeah.
Awful,
Which was one of the arms of the Fated.
yeah, and Affle the Awful, who we should have known, based on his name, who is one of the players of the great game originally. We learned all the lore about that, and I love them. I'd love to talk more about all of them because their stories are heartbreaking and beautiful and perfect. That's the flower makes me cry. But he's one of the players. One of these great whatevers needed to go get this key from Velxer the Great. We believe that we figured out what that key leads to. If they have all the keys, it will lead to basically where the void is being kept. I believe was the answer, or our assumption. Whether it was confirmed or not, we're pretty sure that these keys lead to the fucking where the monster to end all monsters is locked the fuck up.
Well, it's not a monster.
No, I know, but yeah.
But it is it's a player of the great game. It's the guy playing the game that's like, cool. I'm gonna flip the table.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care who wins.
I don't care who gets hurt.
We're all
We're
losing.
just yes. So we're trying.
I'm tired of playing this game.
So as long as Affle only has a couple of those keys, he can't get in. We eventually need to stop him from getting all of them. I feel like. Also, wasn't that just for fun? Wasn't that tied to something from Willen from Campaign 1? Because we had those animal keys. No, Maddie had a key. No. I thought we had a moment where she went, "Wait, I had a key back in our old game. Was it connected to this?" Did we just invent that? Okay, just making sure. I freaked out for a minute. Wait.
Keys are really great MacGuffins to have people chase down.
That's really fair. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Then I'm good.
Yeah. So different continent and different keys. The animal keys. I'll tell you guys because you never got there. So the animal keys. You collected the keys, and there were 25 keys, and it was a mechanical racing game. And you had to solve basically a riddle of which of these 5 monkeys would make it to the end. Were the fastest.
Oh my
You
God.
could only run a certain number of them at a time. I really enjoyed
Peregrine
in campaign
Falcon,
one
the goose, the cheetah, and the sailfish.
putting in just actual riddles for the players to kind of play around with. There was nothing story wise behind it, but it was just going to be me being like, all right, cool. Here's, I don't know, wave. Here's whelm. Here's a dragon orb. Here's something fun. Go have an artifact. Do fun things with it.
Because we're going just by the animals. It's Peregrine Falcon.
It is.
Yes.
No, that was actually a trivia question last night about it was order these animals from fastest to slowest. But with cheetah on the list, that throws a lot of people, but Peregrine Falcon is faster. That's just the fastest mammal. Peregrine Falcon, and then the something winged goose, spear winged goose or something like that. Then the cheetah, and then the sailfish. Cody and I got very close, but like we learned some things, like that there's a goose that's faster than a cheetah, which is terrifying. Anyway.
Yeah.
So
On board.
Actually, the fastest, completely off rails. The fastest organic thing in this or on this earth is actually a plant.
Ooh.
This is gonna be a bad joke, isn't it? What plant?
No, it's not. It's true.
Okay.
It is a early type of fern that actually projects its seed, because you want to like throw your seeds away, and most things get that by things eat their seeds
Pollinating, yeah.
through the wind.
Sure.
But this, I believe it's an old type of fern. It literally it builds up this static tension as it's growing, and then it literally like pump, and it goes like speed of sound or some shit.
Someone
Like,
look
it's
that
like-
shit up. Stream
it's
chat,
ridiculous.
tell us what it is. That you have homework now. This is the kind of thing we would research. Yes,
Cool.
Eric?
Got a new monster.
Oh god, I hate it. So that was Velxer. And a lot
Yeah,
of story plots came out of that.
Yeah, he had Helen Mirren.
There were a lot of like things tied to that that quest as a whole. Because that's technically where we ended the initial leg of Olarune's journey, which was all Cole's character came in wanting specifically was find this weapon. We gave him the weapon. The weapon was a bitch. No, I'm sorry. I will not speak her name. It was such, I knew Megan was gonna have a reaction. I love you.
So yeah, the Arms of the Fated came out of some backstory stuff from Cole, and so I sort of took that and kind of ran with it, and that is where he had put it. We were talking about it being in a beholder's den, part of the on the continent, and so I was like, great. We're going to have a mob boss psycho beholder that wants to have a family.
And my heart. I forgot about that shit. Fuck.
That should not humanize him to you. That is a bad beholder.
But it's the fact that, listen, I attach myself to your beholders because first the one that dreamed he was a dragon, and I'm still gonna commission Zero to do that sculpture one of these days because he had tiny, derpy, ineffectual wings and little claws, and I imagine him precious, even though he was not. But I know, Caitlyn loved him. Yvonne was fine killing him. But, like, first there was the dragon the beholder that dreamed he was a dragon, so he developed dragonish features. And then you gave me one that dreamed he had a family, so he surrounded himself with mirrors and dreamed children into life? Because that's the only way that...
No, he didn't. He stole people to turn them into his family.
Didn't he also
killed
have
that adventuring
mirrors?
family.
Yeah, but still, for a dream.
We actually don't know if that family got killed.
They could have just been eaten by his children. There's a
There's
lot of
some-
beholders to feed.
I believe your evidence suggests that they are still there because there's
Yeah.
a book of Get Better Charisma
Yes.
that you can
Yep.
fix by going back,
Yep.
essentially.
Yep,
And
yep, yep.
also the jail cells that we had passed by that was being guarded by the ogres that that was a big nope, not fighting that right now.
Yep. So that was fun. I think that covered a lot of Velxer.
I think my
Yes.
favorite treasure moment, one of my favorite treasure moments that I've had thus far, did come out of Elxir, which was how to beat a beholder at strip poker.
Yeah, that's fair. Andrew, that face. Having him here for this is hilarious to me.
I'm just trying to figure out how many articles of clothing a beholder would wear.
It was jewelry, right?
Yeah.
It was
I
take
was
off
thinking just a pair of glasses.
just scarves on every eye
Monocle?
stalk. Actually, it's
Many monocles.
he
monocle.
wears scarves on every eye stalk. It's just
I'm excited to be. This is one of the few times I'm on the receiving end of hearing about a D&D campaign as
Mhm.
not a player or the DM.
mhm.
It's just a delight. I
I
love
like it.
this. Yeah.
But no,
Glad
that's
you're
how we
enjoying it.
tricked him into giving us the key. I believe. I say
That's
we.
right.
I was not on that part of the mission. I was, because I had a great Fable moment with that too, where I turned the monster holding the sword into a fish. It was the first time I ever got to use polymorph, and I actually used it effectively, because I turned the monster into a fish, and I was like, as long as it was like a Hydra or a Leviathan or some shit like that, and this thing
Hydra.
should have so murdered us, and I was like, all right, nobody hit the fish. I'm gonna do this. And then everybody just grab the sword and get the fuck out. Like, no one touch the fish. As long as we leave it alone, it won't turn back for a minute and we can get out. Like, so that was a proud magic moment for me where I saved us an entire bloody fight. I was proud of that. Sometimes
You should be. That was great.
sometimes it's easier to be tricky than strong. And sometimes you have to be strong when the tricks don't work.
If I can jump in really quick, this is a question from me just to Cody,
Awesome.
DM
Yeah.
to DM.
Okay.
Have you ever had to deal with like abuse of the polymorph spell? Because like that is a clever use, managing to get that off. I had a player once that did the whole like he was playing a druid, did the whole summon pixies. They all cast polymorph on their turn. Have you ever had to deal with that in any of these campaigns or anything with somebody who is kind of blatantly not abusing, but
Oh, so you
avoiding
saw PvP season
Yeah.
1.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
I was part of the PvP.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
that's less of the like being clever and being like, this is a clever idea, and I'm gonna make sure it can't fail.
Sure. So not that extent of it. I've had a couple of people that went to rely on polymorph, and depending on like the level of the fight, I'm fine with it happening. One of the times that I definitely worked around it was somebody polymorphed a dragon turtle into a fish.
Right.
And I asked them what kind of fish, and they were like a goldfish. It's like, okay, cool. So goldfish is freshwater, and they were at sea. So in a minute, it lost its 1 hit point and became back a dragon turtle and like chased him down. So like those sorts of moments are definitely important. I think for like polymorph abuse, this is a delay. Right, you've got this for you got a minute. The other thing is that you can look at for if you want like an official ruling of how to stop it. Immutable form is on golems. It's a feature on golems. Basically says magic can't change their shape.
Nice.
So for higher, like for some of the mythic monsters that I have, for some of those high level things, I give them immutable form.
Which is
They are.
brilliant.
They cannot change their shape if they do not want to.
Okay, and this is something that I think I forget, and a lot of newer, probably at-home DMs forget, is you can homebrew stuff. You can give them features from other things.
Absolutely. I like pulling features from other monsters that are already written.
Yeah.
Because it's easier to be like, it's a real feature. It exists elsewhere in the game. And usually when you explain it to somebody, it's like, you are fighting a 3,000-year-old red dragon. He has been around forever. It's not the first polymorph spell he's seen. It's not the last one he'll ever see. This is not... He is prepared for this, right? And usually people are like, oh, yeah, I guess, when you put it that way. It's like, yeah, man, right?
3,000-year-old dragon.
Yeah,
Spell. Ugh.
There was a moment of that in the finale of season 1. One of our players had died. They got to level up to 20, and he was a paladin. Had a ton of super powers when you get to the capstone of paladin. And I was like, well, I get my reaction, right? I was like, yeah, go ahead. It's like, I swing, I hit, I smite. I was like, great, a critical. Okay, we're gonna write down all these numbers.
Oh.
You are fighting the embodiment of the idea of imbalance. The best thing you're doing right now is tipping that scale just a little further out of weight.
Yep. Which is why
and,
what Eric did to deal with it in the end was so brilliant.
Yeah, exactly. And that was not the only option for that, but sometimes I think putting players back in the mindset of the fiction of the world and not in the mindset of a player playing a game attempting to win helps contextualize what people are doing in the moment, right? And not I have only in the rarest of circumstances, 99 out of 100 times people are like, oh shit, yeah, you're right. There's maybe that one or two people that are like, that sounds like bullshit to me. I was like,
Yeah.
well, you sound dumb, so I don't know. I'm the GM. Leave.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know what to tell you.
Well, because
So
that's the thing is, I think there's a balance with all GMing that I've regularly discussed this. I've mentioned this several times that Cody does a really good job giving us opportunities to succeed where maybe we shouldn't, and that balances out the times where you might feel like, well, why did you modify this monster and make it harder for us? Well, he also gives us plenty of chances to roll to survive shit that we shouldn't have survived. So like, he does it when it works for the world. If this is a monster that was supposed to take all night and we're about to hit it in 20 minutes, like, it's fine to add more shit to it. We still survived the night. We still survived the fight. Now, if he had done it that way just to kill us, then he would be a dick. But he's done it that way to make it a more interesting fight. Totally fine. On the flip side, then, there are times in our previous campaign where he should have just let us die. And he let us roll to see if someone was wandering by. He let us roll to see, like, he gave us in-world reasons to try to survive. So I think being a DM, if you don't have players who are just abusing shit, it is easier to then give them things that they need to tell a good story. And that's the bottom line, I think, is your players start being abusive with those situations when they stop having an interest in the story and they start having an interest in themselves. That is...
And I feel a need really quick to clarify that this question was from a home campaign I ran a while ago.
Never thought
My
it was
Easy
your
to
people.
Spell players
Like, no.
are incredible. They are the best. They're incredible role players. Come watch it.
Yeah, no, never felt like it was them. Having met and seen a bunch of them play, never felt like that was a concern with them. But do you want to move on to our next question?
yes,
Also,
question.
Andrew, thank you for saving those in the chat for me. I very much appreciate that. It was thoughts on the Black King? Just question mark? I've been talking a lot. I'd like to hear from somebody else.
Yes, something about the Black King just still doesn't sit right with Talroth at all.
I don't know what it is, but I agree with you, Mars. Like something about him coming back and being like, okay, now we're in power, now we're gonna do the thing, and I was just like, I don't know. There's always something weird with just that, like 3,000-year-old, the same thing, that 3,000-year-old giant, but that 3,000-year-old, dead guy who comes back and then takes power again, and it's just like, this isn't the same world you left.
But that's why I think the fact that we had to merge him with somebody else who we trusted to make that happen was so important. That we didn't let it be...
trusted him for like 4 days.
Yeah, but like... But it's, I mean, that's more time than we've had to make some decisions. We decided whether we did or did not trust Cafe. Way less time than that. And we seem to be the bitch in the bottle. And we seem to be right about her. She is the worst. So like, at a certain point, I feel like there's only so much we can do with the time we're given. But we are going back to check in on them again. Should we find that it continues to be an issue? or we don't feel good about where he is, what he's doing, whatever, or the partnership is not going well, like, we can overthrow them. It won't feel great, but we could probably fight them if we needed to, if this king was a dick. But I feel
Fight
like
who?
no, that's my point. Is I feel like we picked the right guy for the job.
Oh, okay.
I think. I could be wrong.
Fight who? But like, just point of order. If this does turn out bad,
Yeah.
and we show up and he's like eating people, we're fighting everyone
No,
in the Dwarven
I
Fortress.
don't mean us specifically. I mean, should that he turn into a dick, they're not the only faction that exists. This might be a, well, we have to go find these mages to go to war. Like, but that's not a one game situation. So even if he turns out to be a monster, we did the best we could given the circumstances.
I mean, if it turns out we have to take him down, I'm just taking every single dual skill dragon thing in the bag of holding and throwing it on somebody and say, "Here, call this guy's name a few times."
But again,
and then just let the dragons deal with him.
I don't think that they're going to. They're not going to listen to us. They have no reason to. They're currently being swayed by somebody who believes that all of us are small and worthless. But also, again, not talking about just us deposing a king by ourselves. No fucking way. But also, I trust the decision we made, so I don't feel like that's going to be a problem.
I think it's definitely one of those decisions in the game that both sides have their ups and downs.
Yeah.
And the Black King is not intended to be a squeaky clean white meat baby face, right? He definitely has his objectives and his people that he cares about, right? And he is addressing problems that, yeah, they are old, but at the same time, you're kind of seeing that they may be valid concerns.
To be fair, the dwarves' concerns are old. So are the dragons.
Yeah.
Like, all of this shit predating, that's not a bad thing. There's obviously been some issues going way back. Like,
Yeah. I mean, they also live a lot longer than we as people can contextualize. So it's like,
relatively small amount of time.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, I mean, I completely understand you guys had a different plan going in there with the Black King, and it went a completely different way. That was one of those decisions that I intentionally made difficult.
Thanks.
And it wasn't necessarily to change your mind, but it was to create the drama of the situation, right? So, what's next?
Next up, what ended up happening with the biomancers?
Oh, the biomancers. What did happen with them? You guys sucked them into their tiny
Two of them had gone through that doorway into whatever biome thing it was, and one of them stayed outside with Deva that we befriended.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that was it. And you guys left it in the Deva's hands, and he had kind of started to come back around and remember who he was and what his purpose was.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, 4 Point Farms probably doing just fine.
Probably doing better than that. I mean, definitely doing better than we found them, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, tough not to with the Kruthniks. So, Kruthniks or whatever.
Kruthniks.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bugs.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So yeah, that was easy. So that was fairly simple. It asked, what's up with the forge? Where is it at? Well, you gotta listen to, it's on the map. You can go, well, have we added it to the map now that we've officially found it? We should probably add it to the map. Yeah, good.
It is, yes, it is added to the map. It is there. And yeah, so the forge is there. It is being studied by Wyatt and the rest of his students. I know Thozen spent a good chunk of time sanctifying it in the name of Branos. Those are kind of the highlights that I have about about the Forge.
Yeah.
I don't have anything else that's super specific about it. Um, if is there, I mean, it's a nice tool there for you guys to use. I know Matthew has a bow he's planning on making there. He's been growing sweetwood tree nonsense. So when you guys get back, he's gonna go grab his bonsai tree and make a bow. Um, yeah, yeah. Were you guys disappointed by the forge? What did you feel like it needed more? Because by the time you guys had gotten through the dwarven stuff, I was kind of like, man, you guys are like, you've worked real hard to get in the neighborhood. I'm kind of ready for you to be there. But I hope it didn't undermine the amount of effort and energy you guys put into traveling all of that distance.
Absolutely not. I got a class change and a new weapon, so I'm good.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah, and especially for a character like Thozen, where that was something for him.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that definitely would have a much bigger impact for like an artificer, a forge cleric.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas even from Talrod's point of view, it was more just, well, I'm being paid to come along, so
Right.
it's nice. It's nice and all. I have no idea what half this stuff is.
Sure.
So
exactly.
So from Talrod's point of view, it's nice. From Mars's point of view, I want it.
Good
That's
to know.
fair. We also had asked what happened to our friends from the college. We know that some of them are like Wyatt and Fam. They are there. That answered that. Like they are still the people who survived the journey. As far as caravan stuff goes.
And most of them did. I think
because we had to
you guys...
rescue quite a few of them there when we split the party. We
Yeah.
lost a few. Yeah, we lost like 3 or 4. Yeah.
Yeah,
but not many.
I think you guys have grand total on the whole journey lost maybe 5 people.
Knock on wood. Knock on all the wood.
Yeah.
God.
No, you guys have done a very good job of taking a caravan of dumb grad students across the Oregon Trail.
Go us.
Yeah.
We chose to ford the river at all the right times.
Yeah.
And nobody died of dysentery.
Yet.
Right?
Well, it's because we told them to be nice to Terry. Duh. Dysentery. Anyway, so, Mars, you want to ask your dragon question?
Yeah, it is a partial kind of callback to campaign 1, where I've been noticing there's a lack of green dragons. Are they just not around, or did something go hunt them down?
There was one green dragon that was featured in campaign 1. Green dragons absolutely do exist. They are just probably dragons I, as Cody, don't think of. They're just not in my. They're not the ones I reach for, right? So that's more the issue with the green dragons. There was the one that did feature in campaign 1, and you guys will definitely run into them if you choose to go to Draconopolis. And yeah, I love green dragons. I love the idea of those manipulator dragons, right? And I am
Fuck that bitch.
interested in like dragon society as a whole. And if you haven't checked it out, there's an old Eberron book about Argoness, which in Eberron is just a continent of dragons. That's just where they live.
Yep.
They don't have little people. They got their own nonsense to deal with. And I just thought that was kind of cool that rather than having them be these solitary, like lonely stalking creatures, what would a society of them perhaps look like?
I like it.
So.
By definition, green dragons are kind of the hardest to feature as like this big enemy because they're the deceptive, like they're the most sneaky of them.
Yep.
It's difficult to have them be like the big bad.
Especially, yeah, to do that, they really have to be wizards, sorcerers, right? They have to to be able to change shape. They have to be, they make a good cabal villain, right? The unknown head of this secret society. That they're a good reveal villain, but most of the time you're not going to see them as in their dragon form. That's just kind of how they play out.
So as far as we know, there is a green dragon that's been featured as a villain.
Everywhere.
Oh, I hate that. Well, excellent, good, amazing. And as for finding a sponsor for the archivist, that's how we got our tattoos. That's the closest, I feel like.
Yeah.
Well, I know we chose the design, but did we ever pick who our sponsor was?
It was for it. That's why we chose the design. It was a specific.
Yeah, there was a merchant from the Forbidden Kingdom in Dorian's Dawn.
Yeah.
That was the guy you guys had approached about it, and he had given you a discount and had ordered a bunch of stuff for, I think, Olarun.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And so yeah, he's there. He's just, you guys haven't made it back.
We've been very far away.
Yeah, 6, 8 months, 9 months probably now, I believe. Yeah.
We've been through some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do want to break the ice on let's interrogate each other a little bit.
Please.
Amazing.
So, what would Grizz's favorite dish be? He's so into food. I would love to know if he had to pick only one.
I'm gonna kind of peter back to myself on this. Like, as extravagant and amazing as food can be, just a nice clean steak, nothing added.
Nice.
Reverse age that, cold age. Like, age that, reverse sear, simple, mashed potatoes inside.
Oh.
Like, I think Grizz's favorite dish is something really simple, done really well. Like, doesn't have to be something really crazy to be delicious, but it's fun to experience those crazy things.
It's like my favorite food is soup. Just all soup. Because it's simple and it tastes like home. Like, soup is home to me. So, like, soup. Done. I don't care what kind. Doesn't have to be complicated. Just soup. Like,
got a tip for you specifically with your new immersion blender. Butternut squash soup.
What?
Is the best thing to do. Yeah.
I have started having at Thanksgiving. My mom she sent it one year, and now I get it every year. Trader Joe's pumpkin soup. Because then you just it comes in a big box, and you just pour it and you heat it up, and it's just always gets eaten, and occasionally used like gravy. Like, people just started pouring it on their potatoes. I'm like, that's a choice. But sure. Yeah. They liked it, so we started getting it all the time. But I feel like that would be a one that I could do stuff with too.
Yeah.
Nice. I have a question for Meg/Saride. If you had gone into this knowing at some point you were going to multi-class or change class, would cleric have made the list? Like, would that be where would you have gone? Like, in Saride's perfect, if you knew I'm gonna multi-class and do some shit, where would you have gone with that? I'm curious.
Probably, just based on her history, probably rogue.
Really? Oh, because
that's what her dad was.
Yeah.
No, not cleric.
She's a Vaughn. Bard rogue.
Because she doesn't believe in any gods, because she's older than. Definitely the one that's in charge of Rotom right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. That's
do you feel better as you seemed frustrated as a player with the Bard class?
I like being a Bard. The problem was that we didn't have Revivify.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, somebody had Revivify, but it wasn't applicable enough.
Yeah. It didn't happen the nights he was here.
Right.
So, like,
well, it was even if he had been there, Revivify, because the brain was missing.
Yeah.
You needed a miracle essentially to make it work.
But if we're gonna talk plot reasons to switch, that is one
It was a hell of a good story point. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. I've got to throw in here how good of a story-wise for Grizz, who in game you had known for a day, like less than 24 hours, completely overhauling, like you and I've kind of talked about this, and you're like, yeah, no, I feel fine about it. But Saride, what level of like, is there any resentment towards Grizz? Like, you came in,
I didn't know this
you
man, and
fucked
now,
up.
yeah.
It's like very like even at real life in game, like immediate effect of somebody coming into your life and then you having to make a major overhaul like that. Like, how much of
Well,
that do you put? Not necessarily blame, but how much of that do you put on Grizz?
it's not on. Like, I don't think she does. You know, like her person is Thozen, and his whole thing is faith.
Yeah.
So a lot of that, I think, has rubbed off on her, and how I think religion really confused her for a very long time. Is how do you, like, I'm pretty sure she went to college with people that are now warlock patrons. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like she's seen behind the curtain. To her, it's just, you guys on the Prime material actually do this. This is so stupid. You guys get that, right? So, but she, loves those and trusts him and knows that he isn't stupid or gullible. The things that she's seen him do through faith has changed her mind. And for all of her, stuff, and it's hard because it's really not her stuff, it's really just me being bitter and bitchy. She's a good person, she likes healing and helping people.
Yeah.
I found it an interesting dichotomy with because you had just sort of had a run-in with your past,
Yeah.
with the Feywild, right, and the position that your dad held, and that had sort of been a little more in the forefront of your mind. I think it is when you take that idea into account, the idea that Saride would. I don't know that her dad, Saride's, spy master father, would have been like, okay, well, that sucks, but he's off this mortal coil now, and I think it is such a big and interesting statement for Saride to be like, no, everybody is important. I'm if I can help, I want to help.
Well, like she really likes Grizz. I think they got along very fast.
Yeah.
Fable bonded with Narvi really quickly too. She would have done the exact same thing for him. Like, there was a new energy that these two brought in that was very worth saving, I feel like. And I feel like it made sense from an outside perspective. Nothing Meg or Saride did in regards to that choice seemed unnecessary or jarring. It read and played very well and very organically and smoothly, which is fucking awesome, honestly.
I agree. Can I throw an immediate follow-up though? Because to Talroth, that's because from a player standpoint, we're like, there's another opportunity. Like, Talroth has kind of another way to be revived.
Yeah.
But like, from his perspective, is it one of those like the party, like Saride was like, yeah, revive Grizz. I know Treasure was like holding your body and crying,
I hope that's how he took it.
even
I hope, honestly, I hope he fucking does, and I will find him one night while he's in his cups and he's bitter about it, and I will whisper in his ear, "This is for stealing my wand, you fuck."
Oh,
okay.
There we go. There it is.
There was
Also,
the
my
moment it hit
laptop
me.
is about to die. I can't seem to get power to it.
Amazing.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna go ahead and say goodnight.
Okay, sure.
Do let us know that we know that you were playing.
Yes,
but-
I'm playing. I'm mad at my. I don't understand. I'm plugged. Everything is plugged. I've been flipping things.
Ew.
I've
We
been
love you,
flipping
Panda.
things.
I'm sorry that
I love you guys.
your laptop is fighting you. But if it gets back on, join us back. We'll be on
Yeah.
for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Mwah, mwah, mwah. Good night.
Bye.
Nah.
To reorganize some shit.
All right.
Continue my thought, because one of the biggest moments in that whole like Talroth and Grizz both dying within a round of each other.
Yeah.
Treasure holding Talroth and
Mm-hmm.
Megger, forgive me. That was the spot that I went, Grizz is gone. Like I can't like expect to compete with somebody that's been a member of the party. Like that was the big moment where she's like, "How will Treasure forgive me?" All right, backup. What am I doing?
For when
My-
this tiefling kills me.
Yeah.
For me at least, it made sense. The choice made sense because this is gonna sound weird. Because Talroth has chosen to go on every one of these adventures with us from the beginning. We have all made the choice that we may not make it out of an adventure alive. It feels slightly different bringing a newcomer in without them having made that choice all the time and go, oh fuck. We have gotten them into something big. We're used to this shit. We've made that choice. All over and over. Fable's made that choice over and over. So if it comes down to somebody saving Fable's life or saving the life of somebody who is new and has been brought into this not knowing really how dangerous our lives are, you best pick the other person, y'all, because she makes this choice every day. We've had this discussion in character too, of we make this decision. We choose to be here. We choose to take the risk together. Not everyone chooses that. Some of them have just been kind of thrust into our path and vice versa. So it's a very different kind of energy, and I feel like a lot of us make that choice every time that we adventure together, whereas Narvi and Grizz are so new, they may not understand. They may not really know, despite their own journeys, how fucking weird and dangerous our lives have been since we started this. That's my opinion on it, at least.
Oh, I'll let Talroth answer first on his thoughts, and then I'll answer mine.
Wait, what? Huh?
The thoughts on
No, I know.
Go ahead, Talroth.
No, you go first.
I was just gonna say, I appreciate you guys going through and finding character justifications for what was a DM looking at a situation and going, I have some other outs that I think will make good stories.
Yes.
So, I'm telling you as a player, there are other options.
Because you did tell us that he has other options. So we knew in player that it wasn't a choice necessarily. But yeah, finding character reasons to do that is
you guys taking the time to justify it as characters is the
why we're
difference
good role
between-
players.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference, and I genuinely appreciate it. Please continue.
Well, as for some of my thoughts on it, yeah, I know I just had bad rolls. It's like it was basically that Taliesin moment where things with Molly Mock happened.
Yeah.
I just had bad rolls that night, and yeah, I paid for it. But even then, it's something that from the start of the game, like even before the first episode, came up with the concept of Talroth and Cass. It's something that I threw by Cody of, hey, here's my idea if something happens. So I've expected Talroth to bite the dust at some point. I just wasn't expecting myself to be like, no. I am scrapping my original idea. I am keeping this dumb bastard.
Yeah.
Because, well, Cody, do you mind if I tell them what the original thought was?
No, please go ahead.
So originally, Cass was already dead. The backup character would have been one of Cass's adventuring party. That would have been like to kind of finish that journey. But now with Talroth dead, he's like, damn, now I got to pick it up for both of them. This is a dumbass family.
This family's so dumb.
The familial motivation and the brotherly relationship was important to me, and because the way Talroth has related to people throughout the entire campaign, I think has been an interesting evolution, and him getting the opportunity to confront kind of where the root of that comes from was why, part of the way through when you guys had run into the Ayangi, I was like, there's some more interesting meat to be pulled from this bone. So
Oh, definitely, because I know I just gave you, this is my thoughts.
Right.
and you just ran with it.
And I genuinely appreciate you being up for it enough to let me be like, yeah, I know we said some other things, but let's try this. So thank you for that. That was a great opportunity.
No, I mean, kept me on my toes. So I'm like, oh, what's happening? Oh, this is new. Okay, Talroth, no, Talroth, stop, nope. And
well, and that's
there we go.
and that should be it, because I've said this many times, and this is actually this is why I like not having a fully fleshed out character when I come into Cody games. Like for instance, a lot of Fable, like I had core concepts, but a lot of the most recent stuff and the big story elements and the things I've written short pieces about came up because of things Cody did, where I went, oh, I can do something cool with that in my backstory, cool. And it sort of evolved naturally and organically from the existing plot. I think when you come in too insistent on growing your character at your pace, having a character arc in a certain time frame in a group game is never going to work. You have to be able to adapt to the group. If you decide, well, this character's going to be this, and then he's going to switch and this is going to happen, you can't always hold to that because you're not playing with just you. And that's so, like, that's why I love coming in and being like, here's my core concept, here's what I like, but I have to be willing to adapt it based on what's actually happening around me, because this is not one of us coming, like, and I have had many moments where I'm like, guys, I'm going to write this into a book, thank you so much, I'm gonna go and run with this, but that's my version of the story. The thing I write is my version of the story. If I was here trying to micromanage all of you into doing what I wanted the story to be, then I might as well just shut the fuck up and go write the book. So that's why I think it's interesting when those moments hit and you have to do something different than you planned, because you should only go into big D&D campaigns like this with so much of a plan. You should go into it with Napoleon's plan. First we show up, then we see what happens. You show up every week. You have to be willing to then see what happens. And that did. Like, that was a fascinating shift.
Absolutely.
That was not expected, and I love that.
Yeah, I mean, even had something similar happen in the home game that I run for Kez and some of the people from Lance. Mm-hmm. And oddly enough, we've had both instances of one person where he had this idea for the backstory. I'm like, okay, cool. And then I started just subtly tweaking small things, but he was rolling with it and just enjoying it and going with it.
Nice.
And then somebody else where it seemed like he didn't really appreciate what was happening. And yeah.
Yeah. That's always the worst.
Yep. And to answer, Andrew, what you said about Treasure. So Treasure and Saride have this very special kind of fun they've actually built throughout the campaign. Because when I first went into this campaign, I absolutely thought they were going to be at each other's throats. I really did. I went in here thinking they're going to absolutely hate each other. Because Saride was very prim and proper when she first came. She posed, as I'm sure you gathered, and Treasure literally entered the campaign by slamming a door clean off its hinges and yelling "Sup, chuckle fucks" into a bar.
Yep.
And I thought these two are never going to get along, and much to my surprise, they became very, very close friends.
The best role-playing moment Treasure has had this entire campaign was that "don't go back." We go for, like the we go forward together moment. Mm-hmm. That was a Saride Treasure moment. I was driving home listening to that and screaming in my car, like, oh my god, like, and again, not planned and wonderful. Carry on.
And Treasure is, I believe, it was either you, Caitlin, Cody, or Meg. Somebody like claimed that she is ride or die support.
She is.
As much as she is absolutely in the front lines, she is absolutely your shield. Mm-hmm. In every instance necessary. Mm-hmm. The thing is that one of the very few people in the party that knows that she has feelings for Talroth is Saride. Mm-hmm. So that is why how would Treasure ever forgive me came from.
Yeah.
Was from that. Okay. It's feelings that she has for Talroth that she has not addressed. She's basically just kind of sat on them because there's a million things going on with her herself as well. a big chunk of Treasure's backstory comes to the fact that she ran away from her own wedding. Which, since you weren't here for the very first part of the campaign, I don't know how far you've gotten to look back into the campaign. Treasure's a runaway princess.
Yep. A runaway bride and a runaway princess.
Yep.
A runaway princess bride.
There may be a demon prince of sorts that wants his bride back. So that's a pin in the docket that we're gonna have to address at some point.
Yeah, I have 1,000 different questions about that because the Easy Dispel campaign, we have a runaway princess that is currently dealing with a bunch of fallout from that. But
that's Cody question.
Another time, another place.
All I gave Cody, very similar to Mars, I gave Cody like the bare bones. I said she's a runaway princess from this area in game 1 called Jalen Arsai. I happen to really enjoy more deserty kind of campaign areas. So I'm really excited about Crit Role 3 taking place in Marquette. Yeah. I've always enjoyed, like, my favorite Disney movie's Aladdin. I've always enjoyed that kind of mystique of genies, the Arabian Desert. In fact, my actual name, Kezia, is Middle Eastern. I have family from the Middle East. Cool. So with that said, I kind of wanted to kind of address that with Treasure. And she is basically the daughter of one of these princes out in Jalen Arsai. And she ran away from an arranged marriage. I gave Cody she literally ran away, trashed the reception, probably stole and ate the cake on the way out, sold her dress and her crown, and hopped it over to another continent. She has no idea who her fiance is. For all I know, he could be a halfling. And I just let Cody go with it.
That's amazing.
The next thing I find out, her fiance is part of this major mob family in the city of Brass.
Yep.
I even leaned over to Mars. I'm like, what the fuck is the city of Brass? I have many concerns.
Yep.
Could you mention how different Grizz being introduced to the party would have been if it was Sirach and Treasure that had gone and met him at the restaurant?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Very different dynamic. Let's do a what if episode.
Because it would have been I feel like it would have been such an incredibly different, like it couldn't be more different on those sides of the same coin. If Treasure and Sirach rode in, just saw this dwarf eating at the table that just bounced on the check.
Yeah,
much more chaotic.
A little bit.
Listen, if you want team trouble, that's usually Talroth, Sirach, and Treasure.
And now Grizz.
Whatever it was, I didn't do nothing. I have an alibi.
Listen,
Cass is not an alibi anymore, okay? Your alibi's dead. Like, you can't blame it on him anymore.
So many times.
That's not a nice thing to say about Olaroon.
So many times, Fable has had to be the responsible adult for us, and I'm pretty sure
no
she's younger than most of us.
I am the baby. Now she was older than Olaroon, but now that Olaroon's gone, she is baby, and regularly does have to be the goddamn adult, which is, you're making me be the voice of reason, and I don't like it. Like, she's Nick Miller. She's like, no, like, stop. I just came to have fun and run away from my tragic past. Let's go. Like,
I have a question.
I have an answer. I don't know if it's for me.
Sorry, go ahead, Treasure. Yours is coming, but before we end the night, I do have a question for Eric, actually.
Yes.
Okay. My question is in general to everybody who's here. When did you have to do something with your character that you did not expect your character to have to do? I'll give you an example. I did not expect to have to be the face and play strip poker against the beholder, but there we were.
Oh god, come back to me on that, because again, I don't go in with a plan. I don't go in with any kind of plan, so none of these things have been like, never thought it would be me, because every single thing I'm like, alright.
Well, there's two for me, actually. One of them was when it came to the whole centaurs with the Iongi, and just Talroth standing up to him and just trying not to flinch or show fear. It's like, yeah, yep, I'm letting Talroth take the wheel on this one. He doesn't want to back down. Okay. And then the other one was after the whole thing with Cass, just the mental gear switch when suddenly the scene shifted to having to talk to Trinit.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that was just I literally was insulting Cass like 5 seconds ago, and now it's like, no, it's okay, dear, it's okay. So
Mm-hmm.
even on that one, props to you, Cody, for just that switch where, yeah, that kept me on my toes for a second.
Mm-hmm.
You handled it very well. Thank you.
And I loved those segments with Talroth in particular because that's where we see a lot more roundness to Talroth as a character, where he's not just our resident little shit. While he is very much our resident little shit, there's clearly a lot more to him.
Mm-hmm.
Eric, do you have an answer for that?
I don't know a specific point where Sirach has had to. I mean, just I think the first time that he kind of went around, because Sirach in general has been kind of a, he hasn't been very like sneaky and duplicitous, but the first couple of times that he started hanging around Talroth and had to become sneaky and duplicitous and actually like try to pull off scams and shit, like that was, I did not think that was going to be something that Sirach would be doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, he kind of fits into it pretty nicely now.
Absolutely.
Part of that mob squad.
Yeah, I don't, like I said, I don't really have any. I very much built her to be. I didn't build her to necessarily. I have not pushed my own backstory agenda, as we know, because Eric asked me to. At one point, he was like, "You're allowed to have this." I was like, "Shut up, no." So
I tried.
right, and I tried too, and the one player who is actively planning on bringing it up is Narvi, and he couldn't be there last week when he was about to bring some shit up. And so, because he has reasons to bring it up apparently, and I'm excited about that conversation because I don't know his backstory, he doesn't know mine. This will be fun. And Sarai's gotten close. They've gotten some close moments to almost discussing some things and then not, because there's always been bigger shit going on. And it feels selfish to deal with this. There's always been bigger things. Like, that's not my time. But it has very much been, I came into play. I didn't come in seeking anything big that needed to be found now. Every now and then I'll ask about the backstory stuff, but it's not my hyper focus or my focus most of the time. It's if we happen to be in a place where I can find out some shit, I'll find out some shit. But it's not a thing I'm gonna just like take us on a journey to. So because of that, I've never been in a position where I'm like shocked that I have to do this character thing, because I didn't come in with a plan for any specific character thing I needed to be or do.
Can I say one thing I did really enjoy with Fable? Her interactions with Talroth and that big brother little sister kind of interactions they would have. I didn't expect that to play off as it did.
Yeah, that's
But it was sweet. It was like this really weird, interesting, sweet thing, especially because before Talroth was the younger brother, so to see him almost, now that I think about it, foreshadowingly, in a way, be the big brother.
Yeah. Ha! Cody, your question you had.
So, my question.
To wrap up
real
the
quick.
night.
Yep. Eric.
Yeah.
You have, Sirach has danced around portals for a few minutes. You guys are getting to the levels where planar travel is easier and easier, and you're getting into some high magic moments and situations now. So I think my question is, when Sirach gets finds the portal to the elemental plane of air, is he gonna stick around?
I think a lot of it is going to be what he finds when he gets there, because he doesn't know specifically like he's heard like stories of things that had happened as to why the Arakakra or some of the Arakakra aren't there or why his family's not there, but he doesn't necessarily know what is there.
Sure.
And so I think it entirely depends on what he finds when he gets there.
Okay.
Like if it's like there is a evil entity or there is some nature of corruption, he's gonna want to fight it. He's gonna want to like take that land back, take that plane
Mhm,
back.
mhm.
But
Hmm.
if it's if he finally makes it there and he just like finds out that through distorted stories and everything that his, great grandparents just left. Like they were like, "Hey, we wanted, there's a group of Aarakocra who are going to the prime material plane. We're gonna go with them," and like that was it. I mean, I think I
If he
don't even
finds
know
out
what
he
that
was
would do
chasing
to
an
him.
empty legend, that would be
Yeah,
a different
it
kind
would.
of broken.
Yeah, but he would probably. I mean, I'll be honest. Either way, I don't know if Sirach would stay.
I it has seemed to me that that Sirach very much has an end point,
Yeah,
right? He very much has like a Gloomhaven. All right, I've accomplished my goal. Time to start whatever this adventure is, and knowing I the elemental plane of air is something that we dealt with a lot in campaign 1. So
hmm
just in general, it's not ground I am looking to particularly like retread.
yeah.
And the only reason the Feywild gets, a little bit of a pass is because it's completely different than how you guys left it. You know what I mean?
Which I would also, I'm like super excited for that portion of the story to when we get to go there and take care of all that desert stuff.
Yeah.
Not only because dimension hopping, but also because that was a mess I made. So it'll be fun to clean that up.
It was, yeah, that was a holdover from campaign 1. So yeah, I was just genuinely curious to see if I was reading that in the same way. So because you guys are, I mean, very close. I think your spellcasters are maybe a level or two away from being able to just plane shift you there.
Yeah, I think
Um,
it's what it really comes down to is that if he and I think it's kind of baked into the Eric Hawker, especially me making him like 10 years old, so he's already like a third of the way through his life. Like Eric Hawker in general are kind of short-term characters.
yeah.
And
Hmm.
so I think yeah, he definitely has an end, and I think either way it's in the elemental plane of air, either saving it
Or
and
retiring there.
or going there and finding and hanging around with the people that he never really got to know.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, is this his Coco? Is he gonna go meet all his ancestors or something? Like,
Who knows? Not ancestors, they're dead.
no,
But
but the sons of his ancestors, his contemporaries who knew the stories. I don't know.
yeah,
Well, let me ask you this, because you guys also have a loop back in Willen. If you go back to Willen, or not Willen, what was the one to the south? The actual capital of
Fuck if I
the
remember.
Arcadian Straits, the city.
I do not remember the names. I'm very bad at names. I
That's
remember
fine.
Willen.
Yeah. Anyway, Eduardo left an entire group of Eric Cochran
Yeah.
there
Yep.
as cops and defenders.
Yes, they are in
And
charge of that, and it was amazing.
yeah, if you guys make your way back there and you find that surrogate family, is that enough for Sirach to be like,
Mm-hmm.
no, there's a bunch of Eric Cochran here. I'm cool with this.
it
Mm-hmm.
it might be, but I mean that would come down to how it RP'd and how it played out. But
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Yeah, because
depending on
go ahead.
how I was gonna say, depending on how it goes, that's ride or die Ranger Bros. That's if it comes down to retaking the plane of air, Grizz is with you.
So is Fable.
Damn straight.
So is Fable for her own reasons as well, but like also ride or die, and they haven't gotten a lot of time together to do shit. But she brought Sirach into this. That they were carnival friends. They were circus friends.
Grizz ride and died.
And
He's
now
in
it's
it
just time
all
to
the way.
ride.
He has done both. Both have been accomplished.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was just curious because you guys are 3 levels away. You're level 10 now.
11.
11. My bad. You are 2 levels away. At level 13, your cleric, I'm pretty sure will be able to plane shift you.
Assuming we, yep.
Pretty sure. Unless it's just not on the cleric spell list, but you know, no, it is. Boom,
And
right there.
on a different note, through extensive research, I have found the name of the plant. It is the bunchberry dogwood, and the
Whoa.
flower has folded stamens.
Oh
And
my
when the
God.
flower flowers, it flips those stamens and it throws the seeds and pollen, accelerating it at 2,400 times the force of gravity, or about 800 times when an astronaut would experience during liftoff.
Good fucking God.
Cool.
Wow.
And it discharges in under 0.5 of a second. And to just give you ideas, a Venus flytrap closes in about 100 milliseconds. A froghopper insect leaps in about 1 millisecond, and the mantis shrimp, which I think Tristan
what-
was talking about, the mantis
Ramar,
shrimp,
yeah.
Ramar closes and causes a sonic boom when it closes its
Good God.
pincer. That closes it in 2.7 seconds. So this moves on just leaps and bounds faster than that.
What is
Wow.
the planet? I hate this.
And
Yeah.
I thought the exploding palm tree was bad enough.
Or the exploding cucumber.
I hate all of this. We're gonna.
There's an exploding cucumber.
Oh
So
God.
there is
Grizz has a new plan. He wants to eat
There's
it.
another plant that it kind of loops it kind of comes up and like a stem, and then hanging is this little like slightly larger than a grape but grape-sized seed pod. And if you touch it, it's very loosely held on, and it has this huge pressure on the inside where the seeds are, and this sticky mucus type liquid. And so when you hit it, it actually breaks, and the mucus shoots out and shoots the seeds out about like 30 feet in the air.
Wow.
Grizz, I've got a new recipe.
Yep.
We're making pickle poppers.
You're making. This is a meal you have to eat.
Emphasis on pop.
It's like the operation game, or the perfection game where you put the things in, but you have to eat it before it explodes. Got it?
I will say there is a level of like PTSD here because Andrew, not Grizz, has a bunch of scars on his chest from home-brewed cider bottles exploding in a basement.
Oh,
I hate that.
And me getting essentially shotgunned with glass.
Oh my God!
Like-
I'm glad you're alive.
Yeah, I mean, it was never gonna kill me. I'm glad it didn't blind me, but
Well, I'm glad
yeah,
you're not blind.
just lived in Idaho where it went from like 80 degrees to -2 kind of deal, and so any sort of temperature difference
Yeah.
caused pressured glass to just
Oh my
explode.
God, I hate it.
A bunch of like glass shard scars.
Well, fun.
Also,
Cool.
so I want
Grizz,
to
like,
apologize.
man.
And I know cucumbers can do that to me. It's a new level of trauma.
Also, I want to apologize for everything Treasure has ever told Grizz to do because I am someone who loves to cook, so I realize everything Treasure has said has been awful.
I do too. I love cooking myself. So no, you're good. I tried cooking whatever the sewer monster was.
The Utyug?
I tried cooking those, and that turned out horribly. And I apologize to Meg once she watches this for
Oh.
that ever happening.
Thanks for following. On that note, though, we're about to raid and head out for the night. So, good timing. Good timing, everyone. Go us.
Right. Well, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. We are gonna next time, which is tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. For Vampire the Masquerade, Blood in the
Yes.
Bayou, special Friday night episode. So I will be there, as will Pixie and Meg and Matthew, I believe, and Sway the storyteller. So
Who we're
come
rating
check
right
it
now.
out.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, he is awesome. Check him out with what he is up to, and then we will see you guys next time. But until then, be cool.
We're out.
Thank you,
Thank
Mel.
you out.